This is how I'm walking, which is not really much of a walk. And here we are in the, let's have a look here. Oh, look at that. Big swollen boy there on the left hand side. Okay, so rheumatoid arthritis feels like glass, like shards of glass in your joints. So this was absolutely excruciating. And so I had to go back to my doctor and say, hey, are you still selling that methotrexate? He put me on 10 milligrams a week of methotrexate, which is a low dose considering where I was. He started me off on that. But methotrexate slowly wears off with time, and I did 12 months on methotrexate. Now, it reduced about 50% of the pain at first, but as I said, it wears off. And so by 12 months' time, I was suffering so much fatigue from the drug, which is a massive side effect, as well as the fatigue from rheumatoid, as well as I was still not getting better, right? I was still deteriorating. Now, I began to study rheumatoid arthritis and its underlying cause like it was a second university degree. I've since calculated I've spent more time on that than what I have actually on my original degree. And I studied the digestive system and its linked to rheumatoid arthritis because I'd bought two books, the only two books in the world written by people who had recovered from this disease, and they'd both done it through diet. And although all the medical community said diet has nothing to do with arthritis, I thought it's worth a shot. So I started studying, but one of the things that gave me the greatest insight was what I call the cherry incident now. I ate a bunch of cherries, and what happened is they were unwashed, and I got violently sick and vomited and diarrheaed for 24 hours. But at the end of that, miraculously, I felt amazing. No pain, right? And I'm like, what's going on here? Clearly there was a relationship between the digestive process and the disease, because when I'm empty, I feel amazing. All I needed to do was work out how to feel like that without having to vomit and diarrhea for the rest of my life. Okay. And so I went on an enormous health kick like you have never seen in your life. I started doing green juicing. I was doing wheatgrass shots, like 5 a day. And I found that every time I stopped eating, I felt better, but I eat again and I felt pain. And so I thought, okay, I need to find a way of eating so I get enough calories to live, and I have my pain at the absolute minimum. And for me, that was a raw food diet, which was my entire calories were coming from soaked almonds, soaked macadamia nuts, and soaked pumpkin seeds. And I ate salads like that sort of stuff, a little bit of fruit, and I lived off that diet for 8 months. Okay? Now, not because I wanted to find out what it's like to live like a chimpanzee, but because I was getting pain relief. And by the end of that 8 months, I'd got rid of the pain in my chest, the pain in my jaw, the pain in my ankles, and I knew that I was on the right track. And then I started to introduce some cooked foods which previously I couldn't eat, like buckwheat and quinoa and brown rice and pumpkin, very alkalizing, easy to digest, predominantly carbohydrate foods. And then after 24 months of non-stop dietary craziness where I only ate these sorts of foods, I was finally able to get off the methotrexate. So it says on my blood test now, if I ever go for a blood test again, previously on methotrexate, I was able to have my fingers return to normal. As you can see, there's nothing wrong with my fingers anymore. And my wife and I went out to the Blue Mountains where I had proposed to her years before on an agonizingly get down on one knee, and she was able to film me running for the first time in half a decade.
Yep.
Filming video?
Yep. Go, honey! Yeah!
Right. That's obviously my wife. She's got the American accent, right? And so we were so happy, right? But to get to that point was astronomically hard, right? I don't know how hard it was to climb Mount Everest, right? But I would have swapped. It's that difficult, okay? It's that difficult. However, it was totally worth it. My blood test results now, my C-reactive protein, which used to be 50 milligrams per litre when I was first diagnosed, you're meant to be below 5. I got it below 5, and now it sits below 1, which is actually lower than the average person on the street who has no diseases at all. Okay, so that's where I'm at the moment. I eat a low-fat, plant-based diet, and it's both diverse and delicious, and I have no fear of this disease absolutely ever again.